I've been sitting out there for hours.
It's freezing.
How stupid is dying outside your therapist's office? Have you slept?
No. I am exhausted.
I shouldn't have come.
What? You should have. So, what happened last night?
Andrew gave me an ultimatum. He said get married or split. He's trying to manipulate me. So, I went to a club. This guy, he came up to me and he was like, you want to go somewhere? I said the bathroom. He followed me. Am I lucky or what?
Lucky?
I ran from one ultimatum and this guy with a hard-on gives me another. But I should marry Andrew without knowing a good bathroom fuck? Was that disgusting?
No.
Then this other guy entered the stall next to us and started peeing like a racehorse. I thought of Andrew, how he pees. I couldn't do it.
Quite a night.
I told this idiot I have a boyfriend. He said, listen, Cupcake, give me a hand job and no hard feelings. I thought about what you would say in therapy.
Is that why you ran over here?
Oh, I didn't run. I gave him the hand job.
Walter Winchell was the OG original gossip columnist. And he once wrote,
Never above you.
Never below you.
Always beside you. But his message of equality must have been lost amidst his stories of sex and scandal.
And sex!
But it did give insight into how intimacy develops in relationships.
Psychology Today, November 15, 2015, states that intimacy rests on two people who both have the capacity to listen and speak, and the courage to bring their full selves into the relationship.
Both need equal power when defining what they want.
In Treatment, by Rodrigo García, Amy Lipman,
Hagai, Levi, and Davy, Holms. Andrew said, I don't know what I want, so I said, let's decide. Either we get married or we split.
So you gave the ultimatum?
No, he said you have a day to decide.
Well, then why did you bring things to a crisis?
Because I am unfaithful.
Why haven't we talked about this?
We have. This isn't the reaction I was hoping for.
Well, what was?
2 scenarios. First, you say I love you, and we make love.
And the second?
Like the first, but without the sex. You're sitting there like Buddha, acting like you have no idea what I'm talking about.
How long have you felt like
A
this?
year. Since our first session. You're the center of my life.
I'm your therapist. You may be using me to bail on Andrew.
You know why I didn't fuck that guy in the restroom? Not because of Andrew. I want to cheat with you.
Our time is up. We'll talk next week.
I said yes to Andrew. Are you happy?
Isn't this fast?
You don't know why I said yes? You said no.
Well, in your fantasy, how would I respond to you saying that you were in love with me?
Take the quotation marks off in love with me. I know when I turn somebody on. You know what I saw the first time I met you?
What?
A man who had stopped living. My being here has brought you back to life.
I can't help but connect. I empathize, I worry. That's who I am as a therapist.
I knew you'd deny it. Tell me, do you want me?
No. We need to talk about therapy. Maybe you've had enough.
Use the belt. It's a more humane punishment.
Look, you want somebody in love with you, but that's ruining any chance of therapy being productive.
Am I the first patient in love with you?
When a patient has feelings for their therapist, they project qualities that don't exist.
So maybe you're in love with me.
When I was 14, I fell in love with my teacher. One day in the lab, I heard myself say, I have to kiss you.
What happened?
I got out of there.
Well, what would have happened if you had kissed?
It's just a fantasy. Oh, well, I'm afraid
Our time's up.
Well, I'm sorry.
I wanted to do it in the kitchen, But he picked me up, gently, like a vase, and took me to the bedroom. I thought maybe he's waiting for a signal, so I climbed on top thinking this is gonna be the saddest orgasm ever. But I ended up screaming. Oh, you would have been so proud.
You slept with my patient.
He doesn't belong to you.
Well, you began your affair after we talked about quitting therapy. Or maybe you felt sadness because you were with a man that you didn't want.
Oh, so when I was fucking him, I was fucking you? Don't flatter yourself.
It's not a compliment. It's more like, look what you missed, you coward. Aren't you afraid that Andrew will find out?
Andrew and I split up.
Oh, he must be devastated.
I'm the one in therapy.
I'm taking care of
by
you.
By kicking me out.
An option.
Instead of saying you have feelings for me too.
Instead of figuring it out. Do you remember that story you told me about your mother dying?
What's your point?
Your father's friend must have seemed like a life raft. Just as I am now.
I seduced him.
Oh, you were 15. A 40-year-old man destroyed your ability to communicate from a non-sexual place.
That's not true. There's more intimacy between us than most couples, right?
Yes. But you can delude yourself.
Oh, so I created this fairy tale where you're my savior?
How do you really see me?
Restless, yearning, damaged. And I want you.
So you can fix me?
I should get going.
Okay.
That affair with me and your patient is over. I ended it. Are you relieved?
We need a timeline for ending therapy.
No. We're done today. I feel sad.
Well, I feel sad too.
Doesn't look that way.
When I was a teenager, I remember saying to myself that I was going to be anything except my father. He left my mother for one of his patients. Anything my father wanted, he took without any regard for anybody's feelings. I'm not going to betray you.
You're scared. This past year, I spent each week thinking, I'll tell him I love him, he'll tell me he loves me, and the session will go on forever. Every minute here is tearing me apart. Hello?
Hi. You're there. I've been leaving messages.
Yeah, I know.
I know I've hurt you.
Losing a patient is such a big deal.
Well, losing you is. I'd like to see you.
Okay.
Where?
My house. Hi.
Hi. You look great.
You're a liar. Is it weird being in a patient's home?
Well, you're not my patient. I lose patience with my patients.
Not your lover, not your patient.
I love you. I understand you might be viewing this with some caution.
You don't get to tell me where my head is at.
Do you think this is acting on impulse?
This isn't impulsive. This is the longest foreplay I've ever experienced. A year. What changed?
I realized what I was going to lose.
You'll get over me.
But I don't want to.
I'm done with therapy. You were worried I was using sex to bail on my relationships. You're not worried anymore?
Well, you haven't been calling me back. You're setting limits.
Walking away is proof? How do I prove that I'm over you? Give you the keys to my house?
Are you over me?
No! But I don't want to be happy in the moment anymore. I want it to last.
Well, maybe you're just afraid that we're not
You thrive on all this back and forth, but let's not. What happens if we don't talk?